Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. What's going on, guys? I want to welcome you guys to the show today. I really appreciate you guys joining me tonight. I want to, of course, apologize to the audience that we had to reschedule this show multiple times. I explained it in the membership as to why I had to reschedule, and you guys were very understanding, and I do appreciate that. You guys do know that I got a life, and I got a career, and sometimes those things intersect, and the show has to suffer. But we're here. We never forget about you guys. We never forget the obligation that we have to bring injustice to cases like this and be a voice for the voiceless. So I appreciate you guys for joining me and being patient with me. This show was supposed to happen on Sunday, and we had to postpone it twice. But we do have a lot to say about what we're going to talk about today. So big shout out to everybody who is joining me right now and has decided to become a member of the show. Thank you so much to all the new members who are going to be joining us on the Strategic Eyes show and becoming a part of the family. For everybody else who's not a member, don't worry about it. Some people can't afford a membership, and I understand that. I just appreciate that you're here, that you're willing to listen, that you're going to hit that thumbs up, and you're going to engage in that comment section so you can help us get to a wider reach, a wider audience. So big shout out to everybody. We're about to get started soon. I can't stay too late because I got to work in the morning. But we got a big show for you guys today. And the last shout out, because I know people are like, don't take so long in the beginning, Strategic. My last shout out has to go to my moderators, the moderators who are supporting the channel, keeping the chat safe. Thank you so much for keeping this a safe community, a community where victims, survivors, and warriors can feel comfortable coming and telling their stories and listening to true crime. That is the community we're trying to build here on the Strategic Eyes show. Ladies and gentlemen, do I have a show for you? Today, we're going to talk about that bombshell information that Plunder put out. Now, lots of different YouTubers have this information, including myself. But the way that Plunder put two different documents together shows her experience being a journalist. And because of what she did by connecting these two documents and proving that it was Madeline Soto, at least in my opinion, I believe and Plunder believed, I'm not putting any words in her mouth, okay? I'm not talking to her behind the scenes, but I'm just saying from what she said on her video that I watched, because I'm a fan of the show, she believes that the text messages that went between Stephan Stearns and the previously unknown party that people assumed were some of the adults in his life. Maybe he was talking to Jen. Maybe he was talking to the co-worker that was his paramour, whose name we're not going to say. People assumed it was all these different people. They had every right to assume. That's what we do. We have theories. This is true crime. But those theories were wrong. And in all actuality, Stephan Stearns was talking to Madeline Soto, or rather, Madeline Soto was talking to Stephan Stearns. Now, before we get any deeper into this show, I want to say this. If you are unable to understand what trauma does to a person, especially a child who has been groomed and abused since, at least from my perspective, Strategic Eyes, 6 years old, you need to reevaluate your interest in this case. It may be a little bit morbid and or macabre. You may not be here for the right reasons. Madeline Soto did not ask for any of the abuse that she suffered from Stephan Stearns. And her participation or entertaining of this man is not because she was interested in the abuse. It's because she was groomed and indoctrinated into the abuse. You probably would have acted the same way if you were in her position. I may have acted the same way if I was in her position as a child. This is a child that has been groomed and abused, manipulated, and controlled since she was 6 years old. And there's evidence of SA since 8 years old. And the only reason why we have that evidence is because he recorded it. That does not mean that that assault started at 8 years old. So as we go through this show, please do not in any way blame Madeline Soto. And if anybody has the audacity to do that, well, my amazing moderator team will handle you. We will handle you forever because you do not have a place on this platform. Ladies and gentlemen, when I think about this case, there are a few milestones in this case that really opened up my eyes as to what motive is. There's a lot of people who have different motivations for covering this case. Some people want awareness for the victims. That should be everybody's motivation, at least an underlying motivation, awareness for the victim, and also deterrence, right? We want to understand it, right? Some people see themselves in Madeline. There's some trauma there. You know, they have, they're heartbroken off of what happened to her, but there's a personal connection there because maybe they unfortunately may have experienced something like that. When I think of this show, I think of, not the show, but this situation. I'm curious as to motive. All those things matter to me, in terms of bringing awareness, etc. But as an investigator, I want to know the motive. I want to figure out why Stephan did it. I understand that this happens, okay? I've been desensitized to this because I deal with this on a daily basis, okay? A lot of people don't understand that when they watch this show, why I approach the show the way I do, because I'm not approaching it from the way you approach it. I may not even be approaching it from the way other YouTubers are approaching it. I'm approaching it from the aspect and from the guise and through the eyes of a professional, of somebody who has seen this quite a bit. So therefore, I'm not going to get the same emotional response as some of you may get. It's almost like it's another day at work. Sounds sad to say it, but that's just the way it is. So I'm interested in the motive, ladies and gentlemen. What is the reason why Stephan Stearns took Maddie's life? I don't need a motive as to why he has saved her. There is no motive. He's a sick, demented person. He's a degenerate. I know the psychology of those folks. I've taken the seminars. I've been forced to go to the trainings. Sometimes you got other things going on, and they're like, nope, you got to drop your cases, go to the training. I've done that. I've listened to the experts talk about why these guys think and do the things that they do ad nauseum. Sometimes the trainers just repeat themselves. But what we don't know is, why did he kill Maddie? That's the variable that we don't know. We know why he did the other things. There's books and books and books and books and studies, DSM, wherever you want to go, you can find explanations to why he did his initial abuse of the child. But why did he take her life? That's the variable. That's the unknown. That's what I'm trying to figure out as I study this case, as I give you guys my theories and my beliefs. And there's two things that stood out to me. And I did shows on those two things. These are my two main theories. I talk about the pregnancy theory more than the other one, but I've done two shows on these theories. And my first theory was not pregnancy. My first theory was this. Somebody made a good point, and I'm going to get in trouble with Aki for stopping again. But we're all on Stephan Stearns time. We're all time blind, and we're all zonked out right now. So all of us have an excuse because we're all zonked out and on Stephan Stearns time. Let's keep going.
A little bit. I told her it was pretty. It reminded me of Sister Act. That's why I wanted to show her that movie. Just talking about a crush she had on the boy.
Oh, nope. Crushes. I wanted to find a clean version that wasn't my commentary so we could just speed right through it, but I didn't have time. I literally rushed this live so we could get out here. I'm not rushing as in quality. I'm going to give you the best I can give you. But I had to do this live quickly so that I can go do other things because it's very late over here. It's 11 o'clock Eastern time almost. Crushes. See? You guys over here.
No. I don't.
What happened?
I dropped her off.
No, you didn't.
Where?
I dropped her off on.
Crushes. I'm not going to go back. You guys get it. You guys heard it the first time. Crushes. Jealousy. We talked about this months ago. That was one of the first things that stood out to me. One of the first things that stood out to me in this case. And then I started thinking to myself, and mind you guys, I wasn't the first one to come out with any of these theories, but I didn't hear them anywhere else. And that's the God's honest truth. I only watch a limited amount of YouTubers. Number one, because I only have but so much time in the day. And number two, because I'm very particular as to what I'm looking for from an individual YouTuber. So when I listen to Grizzly, I'm listening to somebody who's extremely organized, who pays attention to the details, who's going to lay out the case to me, point A to B, and then graciously supply me with a link where I can find that evidence as well. That's why I listen to Grizzly. I don't listen to Grizzly to teach me how to be an investigator. When I listen to Plunder, I'm listening to somebody who knows how to tell an entertaining story with facts. Somebody who is a journalist, somebody who knows how to put a story together, and who's also going to lay out facts and also make facts available. She's amazing with the FOIL requests, etc. I'm not listening to Plunder to tell me how to be a detective. So I listen to specific people for specific things, and if I feel like somebody's offering something redundant to what I have to offer, I usually subconsciously most often shy away from those type of shows. Doesn't mean that they're not good. They may even be better, but that's just me. That's who I am. We all watch YouTube the way we want to watch it. So I don't listen to every theory that's out there. So there might be YouTubers who had these theories before me. I'm not claiming to be the progenitor of these theories. But I'm telling you, from evaluating the case and hearing when he said crushes, hearing the other video when he's being interviewed on the street before he was taken into custody, before, even though they knew he might be a suspect, but they didn't have evidence that Maddie was gone or essayed or anything like that, he spoke about crushes. So I saw those two connections. I was like, you know what? There might be some jealousy here. Could that have been it? And then I thought to myself, what about pregnancy? What about the possibility of Madeline being pregnant? And I want to go ahead and take you guys through memory lane so we could get up to speed on the things that I heard that's going to lead us into the Plunder video, where we're going to listen to Plunder, put it together, and dissect it, ladies and gentlemen. So let me just get that up real quick. Listen to the detectives questioning Jenn Soto about pregnancy. Now, this wasn't the video that made me think about pregnancy. This came way after. One of the defining things that really started sending me in that direction was the interview with the friend when they're talking about Maddie's period. Now, I spoke, hey, I think she might have been pregnant. Because it was just common sense to me that this guy has unfettered access to this child. There's no condoms found anywhere. This is a natural thing that can occur when intercourse occurs, even though the actual act might have been monstrous, not even might have, really was an abomination. It still was a physical act that could result in pregnancy if done recklessly. And everything about Stephan Stearns screamed reckless. So I said to myself, this is a possibility of something that could happen. But now let's just listen to the detectives talking to Jenn Soto, Madeline's mother, about pregnancy, the possibility of her pregnancy.
Anything. He's never mentioned anything. I've never seen any signs. I tried watching her like a hawk. I thought I was doing a good job, but I wasn't. I was oblivious to everything. 4 years?
Minimum. That's just how that far back the cloud goes. And I find it hard to believe for me that you were so worried about how many pills she took at night, but not where she slept or what relationship she was. His interest in her.
I thought we were all safe. I thought because in that he hadn't shown me anything so far, like everything seems fine. Like he seemed like he treated her like
he treats you. In his mind.
so fucking disgusting.
So now he's in jail because of what we found on his phone, not because somebody came forward and reported that he was abused.
No, I know.
She's not old enough to consent. She's not old enough to have a thought process to even want anything that was happening to her. It's abuse. So he's in jail for that, but something caused what. Right.
All right, he's about to get into it. He's about to get into it now. But before we get into it, I got to acknowledge Tori with a $5 super chat says, has Jenn Soto canceled? Botox appointment been verified? What if it was actually an abortion appointment for Maddie and that's what it was canceled? I have no idea. It's a wild speculation. No disrespect. I appreciate it. I don't know how we put those two things together. There's no such thing as a bad theory, but that's not anything that's been on anybody's radar. But thank you, Tori. I appreciate you. Somebody else made another statement inside of the chat I wanted to address. Somebody said, well, if Maddie was pregnant, why hasn't he been charged with killing a second person? Because in Florida, they do that. I don't think I said that during this live or what I usually say, but I'm going to say it again because we do have new people watching the show who's never watched the show before, and I hope that you guys decide to subscribe. I've always said that either A, Maddie was physically pregnant, and the way that we know about that is through an autopsy result, which they would have that result, but they're not releasing it yet because she's a minor. They would only release it during the trial. That's number one. Number two, 1A, is that a prosecutor can charge that at any time. They don't have to charge it all with him right now. They could wait. They're nowhere near the homicide part of this case. They are only looking right now at the CSAM and the ex-abuse part of this case. There are two separate cases that are happening. CSAM and ex-abuse and homicide. They can charge that second person, if that second person exists, that baby exists, anytime down the road. It doesn't have to happen now. And now two, I've always maintained, and I want everybody to understand this, because if she's not pregnant, people say, I told you, strategic, you were wrong. I'm human. Of course, I could be wrong. But I've always maintained that even if she was not physically pregnant, if Stephan Stearns believed she was pregnant, then that is the motive. The motive is pregnancy, and I'm still correct because I, from day one, said those two possibilities. Either she's physically pregnant or she's not pregnant, and he believes she was pregnant because they had a pregnancy scare. And if that's the reason why he killed her, well, he killed her because he thought she was pregnant. But now we're about to get into it. I want you to listen to these statements that these detectives are going to make to Jenn about pregnancy.
Right? We searched murder because we can call it a murder. She didn't die naturally. She didn't overdose. She didn't have a heart attack. We circled murder on Monday. Something had to cause that. He's been having unrestricted sexual activity for a long time. He's getting what he wants from her, probably from you, and who knows.
Now, what I missed that when I first heard this is he's telling her what he believes the motive is. They've already established the motive. I want you to listen to him. I'm going to bring it back just a second. Remember, I speak his language. Some people don't like me. It's okay. You don't have to like me. I don't know why you don't like me. I'm a fun guy. I'm a family man. I don't hurt people. I play Monster with my kids. I play dolls with my daughters. I work my ass off to pay my bills, to take care of my family. I don't know why people would not like me as a human being. For some reason, it exists on the internet. But I speak his language. Whether you like me or respect me or not, you can't take that away from me. I speak his language. And he's telling you that he already has established that motive. There's a lot we don't know. We just got a 501-page release 2 days ago. People thought that the dump that we had before was all the rest of the paperwork, and we just got 500 more pages. We got a ton of recordings, a ton of videos, a ton of everything just a couple of weeks ago, and people thought that had to be it. And we just got more documentation that just blew the whole lid off of this case. They have more information. They are releasing it at their leisure. They have to release it, but there are mechanisms within these laws that give these district attorneys and these sheriff's departments and these police departments the leeway of saying when it's the right time to release these informations. Why didn't they just release this stuff before? They released it because they wanted to. They released it because now they had the resources to release it. Because aside from when they want to release it because it's advantageous for them, they also have to have the personnel to go through these documents and redact them. That takes a lot of time. There's more to come in this case. There will be more dumps that are going to be brought to us by Grizzly True Crime, by Plunder, by the docket, by GHI. This is not it. But I speak his language. I speak his language. And he's telling her what the motive is. But he's telling her in a way that he hopes that she will agree and she will give him something to validate what he believes is the motive. So please listen up and listen to it with a more open mind than I listened to it when I first listened to it, because when I first listened to it, there was emotion involved. We're all emotionally invested in this. But listen to it now as an investigator, as a detective. Everybody watching this show right now is a detective, is an investigator. Let's investigate the heck out of this case. Let's take the emotion out of it and let's look at this objectively and let's investigate this case. Listen to it with your detective ears, ladies and gentlemen.
Right? We searched murder because we can call it a murder. She didn't die naturally. She didn't overdose. She didn't have a heart attack. We circled.
He's ruling out everything. Let's keep going. Didn't die from a heart attack. Didn't die from this. Didn't die from this.
Murder on Monday. Something had to cause that. He's been having unrestricted sexual activity for a long time. He's getting what he wants from her, probably from you, and who knows whoever else, right? So it's not like he woke up or went to bed Sunday and he was like, you know what? I'm done with this, but I'm going to kill her. Something happened. People don't just wake up and like, you know what? They leave people, they break up with people, but usually things cause people to snap. Now what?
He just laid it out. He said, Stephan Stearns has unrestricted access to the child. Why kill her? People just don't wake up and say, you know what? I'm doing everything I want to this child. And we're going to see proof later from Plunder that Maddie was still roped in. I'm sure those barriers were breaking down, but she was still roped in. So why kill her? She's a big girl now. She's a teenager, and she's talking about these coins that we're going to be talking about. Why kill her? She's not saying, Stephan, in these text messages, I'm going to rat you out. Not rat you out. There ain't no ratting with this one. Tell on you. Turn you into the authorities. She's not saying that stuff. Excuse my slang. Not rat you out. Tell on you, turn you in. She didn't say that in those text messages. Why kill her? Well, let's keep going.
And you know what? And I'm in trouble. Or I feel like I'm going to... Or him being out. We can go even worse. She's pregnant.
That's what questions.
He says that we could go even worse. She's pregnant. And then he stops. Because that's what he's fishing for. He's fishing for the pregnancy. They believe that Jenn Soto knows everything. That's why they speak to her the way they speak to her. We all believe she knows something. They believe she knows everything. And he stopped where he wanted her to stop. She's pregnant. Let's see what Jenn says.
Last night led me to believe when we started talking about her period.
I was told that her and her friend, and granted, I'm male, never had a period, but that somebody found it weird that they were no longer on the same cycle. Could be different because she's a teenage girl. Could be that she missed her period. Have you ever found a pregnancy?
You know what? He's about to ask about the pregnancy test. I'm going to throw in another theory. He said, could it be that she's a teen girl? Could be something else. But I'm going to throw in a third one. What if Stephan just told her to lie and say that she caught her period? What if Stephan, in his attempt to hide this pregnancy for as long as possible until he could figure out what he was going to do about it, because remember, Stephan understands that Maddie pregnant means death penalty, not life in prison, guys. The law is clear in Florida. If you abuse a child underneath the age of 13, you get the death penalty. Stephan Stearns knew that you could not hide a newborn baby, a pregnant 13-year-old, 12-year-old. You couldn't hide that. Couldn't hide a pregnant 12-year-old. CPS would get involved, Child Protective Services, the doctors would get involved. There'll be tons of pressure. School teachers would get involved. School friends would get involved. School counselors would get involved. The entire Kissimmee community would get involved to try and figure out who's the daddy. Who's the daddy? And the only way they would let up on this little girl is if the daddy turns out to be a 12-year-old boy. So he understood that this is a secret Maddie would not be able to keep. Regardless of what she said, I would never tell. It's okay. I won't tell. You've groomed me and indoctrinated me and trauma bonded me into loving you. I won't tell. That's a promise he knew she could not keep. He knew that. So what if, to postpone people finding out sooner that changes were happening in Maddie, or at least she thought there were changes happening. Maybe it's just a pregnancy scare and she was not pregnant at all. Maybe he told her to tell her friend that she had gotten her period even though she did not. But let's keep going.
You tested home? That wasn't yours?
I have two underneath the bathroom sink, but I haven't seen if they're still there or not.
Okay. But you haven't seen any used ones in the trash?
No.
Their relationship hasn't changed?
No.
Okay. So what do you think happened Sunday? Other than him killing her, what do you think made him snap?
Theories
All right, we'll stop that here. All right, now we about to go into Plunder. Big shout out though to Jenny Lang, $5 super chat, says he pulled a con on Maddie, acted like they were going to be a couple, like he was going to run away with her. Old game, but she couldn't know that. And I'm gonna add to that comment. Very good comment. I appreciate you. I'm gonna add to that, and I'm gonna say, it's not that she couldn't know that, and you're right. I'm just adding some nuance. She was too young to know that. It wasn't even possible for her to know that, because she's been hearing this story about I love you and this is how you show love and we're going to be together forever since she was 6 years old. 6 years old. At least that's my opinion. I believe 6 years old. It was impossible for this little girl to know that Stephan Stearns was a monster, because before she knew what good and evil was, she knew what a monster was. And that monster was perpetrating himself to be her savior. That monster was the one that gave her attention when her mother was an absentee mother, just drugging herself to sleep because she got mental issues, and those things are more important than anybody else. Like she said out her own mouth, it was a selfish deed for me. I just needed to get some sleep. She needed to get sleep. She needed her sleep so badly that she sent her daughter to bed with a monster. All right, let's stop making it so esoteric. She sent her daughter to bed with a man. Is that basic enough for you guys out there? She sent her daughter to bed with a man. Tell me, all you beautiful parents out there, how that makes sense to anyone. When is it ever okay to send your daughter to bed with a man that's not even her biological father or even her legal, lawful, and acknowledged under God stepfather because you married him? He is nothing to her, and you sent your daughter to bed with a man. Anyway, let's keep going, guys. Big shout out to everybody who's watching the show right now. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Please do consider hitting that like button. Please do consider hitting that like button so we can get into the algorithm and be seen by a wider audience. I want to go ahead and bring Plunder in here. Her video, at least. Because I think she did a phenomenal job breaking this down. I think she did a phenomenal job. All right. Let's let Plunder explain it to us.
Put all this at least in one video. Page 209 of 501. There's this Amazon Fun New Parents Decision Coin, double-sided mom-dad turn coin. We've heard about coins before. But now we know Madeline actually sent the text message to Stephan that contained a photograph of the two coins. These are things I didn't know before. And I am actually going to record my screen right now to show you guys how I figured this out. Page 486. Okay, record. There's a portion that starts talking about on December 16th, 2023 at 0047 hours. So what is that? 2400. So that's like 1:47 a.m. First of all, that's pretty early in the morning. I wonder if Madeline was on Christmas break then. But this is when Stephan has moved out. He should be back in Northport. So Maddie's texting Stephan. This is how I know it's her. Normally I had at first erroneously assumed that perhaps it was someone else. Jennifer texting Stephan. You know, they're talking about conceiving a child. Is he talking about this with Jennifer? Or could it have been that ex-Disney woman he was seeing? I know she doesn't have any children. She's 40 years old. And I was thinking maybe it was her. She was texting him. I don't know. I know they didn't see each other anymore, but I know according to Gray Hughes Investigates, when he did an interview with that woman, and I won't say her name, there was discussion potentially, allegedly, of them conceiving a child. So my mind kind of went with, oh, this is some adult woman, Jennifer or that other woman, texting Stephan about, oh, let's get these coins. No, it was Maddie, and it made me feel even more sorry for her. So what I'm going to show you is right now, I'm highlighting from the new document dump this paragraph, and I'm copying it, and I usually throw it over on text edit. And so I'll show you here when I paste it, it shows on December 16th, 2023 at 1:47 a.m. And then even though it's redacted, blank sends a text message. When I copy the text, it copies over DELINE. So it's obviously saying,
wow, I watched this, but I didn't really understand what was happening because I'm not a tech guru. So apparently, the data in this PDF still showed the information that was underneath the black block that they put on top of it. So it's going to be redacted when you print it out, obviously. But when you do like a copy and paste like she ingeniously did, that's why I said, man, she killed this. She literally killed this. You got to give credit where credit is due. We were able to get that information that they necessarily did not want to put out there, but it is what it is. It's out there now. Wow. Let's keep going, man. Wow.
Madeline. Madeline is sending a text message to Stephan that contained a photograph of two coins. The coins had the inscription of New Parent Decision Coin and appeared to be from Amazon. Indeed, I looked it up on Amazon and everything. I have the link below. And the tripped out part is Maddie sent 2 follow-up texts. Maddie sent 2 follow-up texts to Stephan, says this new report, stating, "We need this. Get it for us, please." So they searched Amazon, and the detective's report says, a search of Amazon for these coins revealed these coins are for new parents, where one can flip a coin to decide if it is the mother's or father's time to complete a task for a newborn. Due to the fact that this conversation was not near Father's Day or Mother's Day leads one to believe Madeline and Stephan had possibly spoke about conceiving a child.
All right, that last statement, due to the fact that this conversation was not near Father's Day or Mother's Day, leads one to believe Madeline and Stephan had possibly spoke about conceiving a child. That is the investigator's opinion. That is not fact. That is what he is using his deductive skills to conclude with. It could also be that she believed that she was with child. Madeline Soto was an intelligent little girl. Madeline Soto didn't have any developmental issues or anything like that. I'm saying this stuff for a reason. I'm not trying to shame anybody who falls into that category. She is not going to ask Stephan Stearns to buy a coin that she researched that is specifically for new parents if Stephan Stearns is running the game that when you become an adult, when you get legal, we're going to run away together and we're going to have a family. Stephan Stearns would never tell Madeline Soto that he wanted her to have his child at the ripe age of 13 years old. These predators, these manipulators, they always push this stuff off into the distance so that they can't be held accountable for the now. Well, you told me that you was going to give me this tomorrow, and it's tomorrow, and I don't have it. No, I'm going to give you this 5 years from now. Something to attain. He would never say, Madeline, I don't know, obviously, maybe he did, but I'm just telling you the psychology of speaking to these guys for years. He would never say, hey, from my experience and my opinion, that, you know what, oh, I want to have a baby with you when you turn 13. No. That make no sense. That put undue pressure on him. It would make more sense to say, your mother sucks. She doesn't pay any attention to you. She's always drugged up and sleeping. I'm the only one who's there for you. You didn't even get any gifts from your mother for the birthday. I'm the one who's the dad for you. Your father's in a different state. You barely see him. You say you don't even like him. You guys know I have my opinion on the Wallaces. We'll leave it there. Go to check out the videos I did on that. I'm the one who's there for you. Stephan Stearns even listed himself as the dad in one of the documents when she first went missing. He was telling the cops that he was the father. He believed Maddie was his. It would make no sense for him to say, we're going to get a baby right now. He would push that off into the distance. This only makes sense to me if Madeline believed she was pregnant. If she thought she was with child and was expecting a child. Then this would be a cutesy thing that somebody who believes they're having a baby that they want to have with somebody that they love, that they'd want to share something like this with them. That's the only logical conclusion I can think of. Let's keep going.
That part is new. That part is new to me. I know things that stick out new to me are likely new to you too, as much as we've gone through this. And sometimes that happens where things aren't, fully redacted. You can still see it. So by copying this text over, copy, and I'll do it one more time just to show you, paste, we definitely see it was Madeline sending that text. And what's important to me about that is just how groomed Maddie was.
Agreed.
Just, no wonder Jennifer is like, I'm afraid of a Woody Allen situation where the stepdaughter falls in love with the, and
right.
she's.
And I'm going to leave this right here because I want you to go to Plunder's page and watch this because this is not the only important thing that she talked about. So there's a whole lot that happened before this tidbit that we just took out. And there's a whole lot that's going to happen afterwards. I want you to go up there, watch the entire thing for yourself, give her credit for her video, etc. But this is very important that I played this for you. And what Plunder started to allude to is that, and I'm not going to put words in her mouth, so just what I'm thinking is that Maddie probably showed an odd or inappropriate connection to Stephan Stearns. And that's something that Jenn Soto should have noticed. And it appears to be something that Jenn Soto did notice, because Jenn Soto said she constantly had the conversation with Stephan Stearns about the Woody Allen effect. Her fear was that he would run off with her daughter when her daughter got older. So let's go back to these coins. I want to go ahead and read some of the reviews for the coins. There's multiple coins. There aren't a lot of reviews for them because not that many people are going to get stuff like that. You know, wifey came to me with these coins with one of our gajillion kids that we had. I'd be like, what is this? Get out of here. I mean, if it makes you smile, all right, I'll flip this coin. But, I mean, come on. I'm a dad. I got a job to do. When the poop is in the diaper, change the diaper. You don't got to flip a coin to make me do that. That's my job, all right? So this person named Reed, who knows if it's their real name, fun little toy, helpful. With a newborn, sometimes neither one of you want to do whatever needs to be done. Someone has to suck it up and do it, though. This might help avoid a fight or avoid forgetting to do the thing altogether. Why are you fighting over a newborn? God knows. Beautiful time. You step up, you handle business. But that shows you what these coins are used for. People who are expecting children get this coin. Chris says, Dad has some motivation at night, but this settles it now. Great coin, great laughs. Laura says, the new parents love this coin and idea so much. It's very heavy, high quality coin that can keep forever, comes in a case to keep it safe. Now, this is a different coin than the one that Plunder put up there, because that one didn't have any reviews, but they're all the same. That one didn't have any reviews, but they're all the same. Let me try this one right here. Actually, this one has a ton of reviews. I should have chose this one. All right. Let's go to the reviews. It's got 500. Mostly good. Lovely and fun gift. Nice quality, comes well packaged. Bought these for my son and daughter-in-law, and they loved it. Great quality, nice feeling coin. I bought this for a friend of mine as part of a baby gift basket. The couple loved it. It is a nice coin, seems to be a very good quality. Let's do two more. Got for my daughter and her husband after the birth of my grandchild. Perfect gift. Last one. My friend loved this. Such a way of deciding whose turn it is. We all get baby clothes, diapers, etc. This is fun and unique. This is something you get when you're expecting a child or have a child. It's not something you get for wishful thinking 10 years down the road. This is something you get when you believe that you are pregnant. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if Madeline Soto was pregnant. I have no idea. Neither do any of you. There were rumors running around the internet where people were saying that there's confirmation from the family. I heard it last night on Grizzly. I never really talked about it as much. I did do a show exposing straight from the source, from the people who exposed him. I was one of the first, not tooting my own horn. It's not a rat race because I never break news. I never break news, okay? Grizzly covers it first. Plunder covers it first. Docket covers it first. Then Strategic covers it. This is not a breaking news channel, so we're not trying to shame anybody. But those YouTubers went to multiple YouTubers. That's what those Reddit people who are not members of my show. Some of them are now afterwards, but they were not members of my show. Some of them even ridiculed me on Reddit. How do I know this? Because they emailed me and they said, listen, I used to hate you because of what this H Ghost person was saying about you on Reddit. But now I feel crazy that I allowed this guy to sway my thinking of you. So these weren't fans of my show. These people sought me out because they realized that they had uncovered that this H Ghost person was actually a sex offender, and they decided, hey, let me reach out to the guy that this H Ghost person seems to be going after because we think that guy might have the courage to talk about it. Well, they thought right, because guess what? I don't like drama. But if you come for me, we're going to have a conversation about it. And so I'm not going to rehash that. We have a whole video on it with a lot of views. Go check it out. A lot of people are interested in hearing that video. But the point of me bringing it up is that the information that Maddie was not pregnant, that supposedly came from the father and the district attorney, it came primarily from H. Ghost, the rapist, pedophile. Well, I digress. We don't know if he's a rapist. He was convicted of having CSAM and distributing it and possessing it. The CSAM possessor, that's more accurate. He's the one who spread that information. And I'm a fan of Grizzly. I listened to Grizzly last time. I'm not trying to bring her in the show. My views are my own. She has her own views. But I quote shows when I hear things. I give people credit when I hear things from them. She said that he reached out to her. He didn't reach out to me because he was busy trying to disparage me in Reddit. But he reached out to her, and from her words, go watch her show. She did an excellent job covering this and breaking down the behind-the-scenes stuff. She said first he said the information came from the family member, from the father, the biological father of Maddie, and then he said that the information came from the district attorney. Why would a district attorney be talking to an activist or a Reddit person? So I knew from the jump. Apparently Grizzly knew too, because she decided she wasn't going to cover it, and she didn't. A lot of YouTubers didn't cover it. Most of the big YouTubers on YouTube did not cover it, did not say, we believe that Maddie's not pregnant. Most of them either don't talk about it or they did not cover it because it immediately sounded fishy. Most people would look at that information and say, that's pretty fishy. Why? Because first the person said this information comes from the family. That's possible. But then they said it came from the district attorney. Why would a district attorney have confidential information given to a Reddit person? They won't release the autopsy to us because she's a minor and it's confidential. Why would you then release it to a non-family member? The only person who's privy to that autopsy is the parents of Madeline Soto. And even in some instances, because they didn't pay for that autopsy, there are some instances where they might even withhold the details of that autopsy from the parents because it's a criminal case. They will give the courtesy and say, this is how your child or your loved one died. But they may keep certain details under wraps because they can, because it's a criminal case, and that autopsy and that body and that crime belongs to the people now. It doesn't just belong to the parents. It belongs to the people because we are now fighting for justice for this child. That DA might rule, I don't want this leaked. I don't want anybody to know about it. I'm not releasing this right now. Just tell the parents she died from asphyxiation. She died from being strangled. The hyoid, however you say it, bone was snapped. I'm not a homicide guy, so I don't know all those terms. But the bone in her neck was snapped. Just give that to them. But there might be things they might decide to keep for now. Why would they release that to a Reddit person? Why would they release that to YouTube people? Why would they release that to activists who work with the family? No disrespect, no bad blood with those people. I'm just laying the facts as I know them, as I believe them. I'm not trying to disparage anybody. I'm not trying to have beef with anybody. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm here to tell you guys my opinion. I'm here to be real with you. And sometimes truths are uncomfortable. Nobody knows. Nobody knows if Madeline was pregnant or not. Nobody knows. But what we do know is every single new release that we get in this case, every single new release, the theme, the narrative of pregnancy keeps coming out. More questions from investigators. More evidence from all parties involved. More statements from the subjects and the witnesses and the outcries. The more information we get from this case, it seems to be more prevalent that it's highly likely that either she was pregnant or she or Stephan Stearns or all parties involved believed she was pregnant. Most of my audience are women. You guys know about this stuff more than me. But I assume, it's a big assume, guys, big assumption, all right? I assume that for most of you, if you miss your period or something, you're not going to automatically assume that you're pregnant. You're going to say, maybe it's late. I'm going to give it a couple of days and then I'm going to take a pregnancy test. I'm going to give it a couple of weeks and then I'm going to go to the doctor and have them just give me the test. I got my checkup coming up in another month. Why waste money going to Dwayne Reed, going to Walgreens or Walbombs or whatever's in your community and paying $50 for a pregnancy test? You know what? I got a checkup coming up next month. I'll just wait then, take a pregnancy test then. That's what an adult woman would do. What do you think a little girl, an immature preteen who just turned into a teenager and died less than a week later after becoming an actual teenager, what do you think she's going to do if she misses her period? You think she's going to take it easy like, you know what? Maybe it's just late. Or do you think with her knowing that she's sexually active because she's being raped, that she's going to assume the worst? And after hearing Stephan Stearns talk on the phone, hearing him give interviews, hearing his friends talk about him, hearing his parents talk about him, does Stephan Stearns come off to you as a very mature and level-headed person? That's a question. Does he sound like he's that type of person to you? I'll answer it for you. No, he's not. When this immature little girl who's acting her age panics and says, I haven't gotten my period, I think I might be pregnant, what do you think Stephan Stearns is going to do? You think he's going to be cool, calm, and collected? You think he's going to handle it like a man? Or do you think he's going to handle it like the coward that he is? You think he's going to panic? He's going to get a hissy fit in his parents' house. He's going to ask his daddy if he has any anxiety drugs. He's going to do like what his parents described him as doing the night before he killed Madeline, where he looked so pissed off like he was about to punch a wall or something like that. I think he said that. If I'm misquoting him, I apologize. My mind's eye tell me he said something to that effect. But I remember him saying how angry and upset Stephan was. And then Stephan asked him, do you have anxiety medication? He said, no, we don't have any. And then Stephan went off and looked somewhere and came back with some pills, said, I found something. And he took it. Like the detective said, what would motivate Stephan Stearns to kill this little girl? It'd have to be something catastrophic. It'd have to be something life-changing. It would have to be something that would make Stephan Stearns weigh his own life possibilities. A situation that would put Stephan Stearns in a life and death position. Madeline's pregnancy was a life and or death position for Stephan Stearns. Why? Because the Florida governor signed into law the death penalty for anybody who abuses a child under the age of 13. One of the greatest laws ever passed in these United States of America. Florida did it. I believe Ohio did it. And I think Tennessee did it. I might be wrong on those states. But it's 3 states in America who had the courage to protect our children and to hold these monsters' feet to the fire in a way that nobody else has ever done in the history of this beautiful country. 3 states decided to be a model for every other state in this union. To understand that there should be 0 tolerance, no redemption for people who abuse children. He read that law. I'm pretty sure he remembered every single word in that law. I'm pretty sure that law kept him up on many nights because he understood what the stakes were. He understood that in order to satisfy his disgusting, degenerate desires, he made a choice that his desires were worth more than his life. What situation with Madeline Soto would make him think about his own mortality and say, either A, I let her live, she tells on me, I get sentenced to the death penalty, or B, because I'm the smartest guy in the room, I'm smarter than Strategic, I'm smarter than Aki, I'm smarter than Steph Turtle, smarter than Lily Pauly, smarter than Carolina. I'm smarter than all those people. I'm damn sure smarter than the Osceola County Sheriff's Department. I'm damn sure smarter than the Kissimmee Police Department. I'm smarter than all these people. So what's my other option? Well, I kill her. And I concoct the most believable story that has ever been told. I lock in some impenetrable alibis, like going to the hobby store and going to the vape shop to get me some vape juice. I put her in the trunk, drive her around for a bit, talk to Jen like nothing's wrong, even though her baby's in the trunk rotting away while I'm fiddling on my phone in her room. I strap her up to the car. Before that, I strap her up to the car, make it look like she's sleeping, even though she's slumped over and obviously no longer with us. How do they know? They're all dumb. They're not as smart as me. They'll just think she's sleeping. I concoct that story, and maybe there's a high probability, at least in his mind, remember, he thinks he's the smartest guy on the planet, then I'm going to get away with it. That she'll just be a missing child. They'll never find her in the field that I'm just going to dump her in. Smartest guy in the world. I'm not even going to dig a hole. I'm just going to dump her in that field, and hopefully animals would eat her, maggots will decay her, and nobody will ever find her because she'll just totally become one with the earth. That's what's going to happen. So either A, I let her live, she gives birth, they find out, they arrest me, they send me to death row, I die. Or B, I kill her, I concoct the greatest crime that ever was committed, and I get away with it, and I ride off into the sunset, happily ever after. That's what Stephen Stearns thought. But what would make him come up with that idea? What would put him in a position that he felt he only had those 2 choices? And ladies and gentlemen, I presume that it was the fear of pregnancy. And when this young lady, let me bring this video in real quick. Let's get this out of here. Sorry about that. Listen to this. When this young lady, this is going to be Madeline's friend. Let's read the statement. Bring it back to me. I'm like blocking myself. Let me move myself. All right, let's go here. This is a statement from the friend. Statement from the friend. Let's see if we can start up here. Blank emphasized that Maddie mentioned of living in the woods when only if it was World War III were to happen. She said that she did not ever notice any bruising on blank. And this statement is not just important because of the period, the menstrual cycle statement. There's another thing we can deduce from this interview. There's another thing we can deduce from this interview. And guys, please hit that like button. We really do appreciate it. And if anybody wants to support the channel, we do need the support because guess what? We do get demonetized. This video might very well be demonetized. So if anyone want to hook us up with a super chat, PayPal, Cash App, we do appreciate it. It is what it is. We got to keep the show running. We do appreciate your help. But back to the story. Or the topic rather at hand. There's nothing a story about this. This is a tragedy. So back to this tragic topic. There's something else we can deduce from this, and I'll tell you what else we can deduce from it after I'm finished reading this statement. She said that she did not ever notice any bruising on Maddie, but noted how she occasionally came to school with red makeup on, which made it look like she was crying. Blank told me that she would go to blank every weekend. She did not ever stay the night because of her parents' own rules. Thank God for those parents protecting their daughter. Blank told me that she met Stephan on one occasion, got to, even though he and Blank's mother had been together her entire life. Blank stated that he recently moved out of the residence for an unknown reason, and when she asked Maddie why he did, she ignored the question. Blank told me that Maddie and Stephan were very close and they would communicate. So I wonder why Maddie would not talk about why Stephan moved out of the residence. Could it have been because the mother found out that this was happening and like what happens so often in the real world, rather than call the cop? And once again, I don't want to sound sexist, important interview here because this is one of her closest friends. Whenever she asked Maddie about it, she said that they just had a close relationship. Blank told me that she received 2 pictures of Stephan that Blank had sent her. She described them as screenshots that Blank appeared to have taken during the time when they were FaceTiming. However, Blank was not able to locate the photos. Blank told me that Blank typically got her menstrual cycle 2 days before she did, except for the last month when Blank got hers a week or two after Blank got hers. So when Maddie got hers a week or two after the friend. The inconceivable that Stephan told that little girl to tell her friend that she got her period. Guys, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Maybe that's not an appropriate analogy in this type of case. I apologize for that. I'm not going to beat my point home. We're going to get out of here because I did a members live when I was driving home. You guys see I got the same outfit on. I just got out the car, hanged out with the kids a little bit, and came down here to do this show. I need to get out of here. I need to go take a shower. I need to get ready for bed. I just want to drive this point home. We've gotten at least 2 to 4 interviews from Madeline's biological father. Before I get deep into this, big shout out to David with a $20 super chat. Said, perfect time for all your lives. Make my nightly drive go by faster. Appreciate you, David. David is a longtime supporter of the channel. He's a moderator. He's obviously not moderating right now because he's driving. So make sure you're just listening to me via audio, David, and you're not watching me. You're being safe out there, brother. Appreciate you. And thank you so much for supporting the channel for such a long time. He's an OG, guys. He's been with me for a long time. We've gotten, I think 2 to 4. It can't be more than 4, but 2 to 4 interviews from the Wallaces. The Wallaces have done interviews with the news media. They're not shy. It would take 2 seconds for the Wallaces, and they don't have to. And I want you guys to really understand what I'm saying here. They do not have to. They owe us nothing. They owe us nothing. 2 seconds for the Wallaces to come out and say, listen, we spoke to the district attorney or we saw that autopsy ourselves. Maddie was not pregnant. We don't like when people say it. We're telling you she's not pregnant. Take 2 seconds to do that. Now, would people stop with theories? I don't know. Because even if she's not pregnant, we still want to know, did Stephan Stearns think she was pregnant? But it takes 2 seconds to do that. They didn't do it. It's not for them to be faulted that they didn't do it. They don't have to do it. They owe us nothing. But where did we hear it from? Allegedly, we heard it from an activist that's kind of working with them, allegedly, and representing them to some degree, allegedly, who's then giving this information to YouTubers, and we heard it from a pedophile on Reddit, who on Reddit and while reaching out to other YouTubers stated that he got that information from the Wallaces and from the district attorney. We have not heard it from any primary source. The most primary source, of course, being the district attorney. And another source that I would view as a primary source, the actual parents of Madeline, whether it be Tyler Wallace or Jenn Soto. We have not heard this from those individuals. We've not heard it from their attorneys, their representatives, which would also be primary sources because they are mouthpieces for the people that they represent. What they say matters not. They speak for those people. So it's almost like you're hearing it from the person themselves. So far, we've heard hearsay, third-party information, and in one instance, a bona fide sex offender who either started or commandeered the Madeline Soto Reddit, polluted it, and discredited it with their presence. I don't look on that Reddit anymore. Want nothing to do with it. If I want to look and see what people are talking about Madeline Soto, I go to Madeline Soto Truth, which is a new Reddit that was created by the people who exposed H. Ghost. We have heard the naysayers repeat what I believe to be discredited information. And I want to end this slide by saying this. It is our right to question evidence and to evaluate this. This is what true crime is. This is America, free speech. This information is out there. It's public information. It's our public tax dollars that are paying for the investigations, paying for the prosecution. It is the job of the family members who are involved in this to heal in their own way, to deal with this trauma in their own way, hopefully with professional help. But we should not feel guilty for wanting to understand what's happening in our communities and to try and figure out a way for it not to happen to our children and the children to come. If we just pretend like this stuff doesn't happen and don't bring no awareness to it, nothing gets changed, nothing gets solved, no lives get saved. We minded our business, ladies and gentlemen. We minded our business. There was no CPS cases. Remember, the government agencies represent us. There were no child protective services cases against Jenn Soto. There were no referrals made by teachers or counselors from the schools against Jenn Soto. We minded our business. Look what happened. Madeline was murdered. We minded our business when mommy was bringing in this knucklehead into her life and making him a replacement father for Madeline Soto. And what happened? Madeline was abused. We're not going to mind our business anymore, because now it's about protecting our own children and the children to come. Now it's about empowering the children and the young women and the young men who are currently going through the throes of that abuse to save them from getting the ultimate end that Maddie got. We want them to get the courage to stand up by watching shows like this, watching shows like Plunder, watching shows like Grizzly True Crime. We want them to see that people out there care so that they can take the initiative to save themselves because maybe they don't have anybody around them who's willing to save them for them. Only through awareness can we stop the bleed, stop the pain, bring justice, and give a voice to the voiceless. Only through awareness. So when people tell you and shame you in the comment sections, when you go on other shows and stuff around the internet, and you're like, well, this is my theory, and this is what I think. They're like, how dare you think that you're messing with this person's legacy? You tell them, no, I'm not. I'm trying to save lives. Because talking about it saves lives. Bringing awareness to it saves lives. You tell them that Strategic told you that we minded our business. And us minding our business as a society, as a culture, as a country, as human beings, we sat by while this man molested and raped this child from age 6, in my opinion, but the evidence shows 8 years old to 13 years old. There's evidence that he raped her on the night that he killed her. We minded our business. That's what happened. But I don't know about you guys. I'm not minding my business no more. Justice for Madeline Soto. I love you guys immensely. You guys are great. We had a great live today. We're going to get out of here. Please make sure you hit that like button on your way out the building. We do have a membership. Please consider joining the Strategic Eyes membership. We do have exclusive content over there. You get to see a side of Strategic that you don't see here on the live streams, on the interwebs. We have a little bit more leeway because we don't care about being monetized and all that stuff, so we could talk a little bit more freely on the membership. And then if you go over to the Patreon, we do have a Patreon. Patreon is pretty much uncensored because there is very little moderation. So we talk about this case, we talk about other cases, we talk about police shootings, we show those police shootings, we walk through them. We give you the whole law enforcement experience on a Patreon, which we can't do in the membership, because if we have a video of people getting shot and stuff like that, we will get a strike by YouTube on the membership, but we don't get those strikes because it doesn't exist on Patreon. So if you want the full police experience, go on to Patreon, support the channel. You want to get that extra videos, extra perks, want to show that love and support the Strategic Eyes Show, join the membership. It's not a waste of time. It's not a waste of money. We make sure we bring you value. And lastly, I've been saying this lately, and I want to keep saying it, because I don't want to alienate anybody. If you cannot afford the membership of Patreon, don't feel bad. You are not lesser than thou. I give you my best every time I come on this microphone. I give you all that I have to give you, all that I have to offer. So all you need to do is just subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that thumbs up, and comment something. Comment, hey, I'm from Colorado. Hey, I'm from Spain. Where are you from? Just so we can get engagement. That's all you got to do. You don't have to spend a dime. Just like, subscribe, and comment. And you are just as important as any Patreon member, any exclusive member, YouTube member, whatever. You're just as important as any one of those people. Just as important as David, who gave me a super chat. I just spilled a glass of water. That means it's time to go. Water everywhere. Oh, my God. I hit the water. I'm too animated. You are just as important, ladies and gentlemen. So that being said, like and subscribe, join the channel. You know, I always start doing that before I set up the actual outro. So let me set it up. I got to do a few clicks before I can actually get out of here. So I'm going to do the clicks. All right. The clicks are done. Let's try this again. Like and subscribe, join the channel. I'll see you guys on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace.